Hello, everyone. Okay, today we are talking about a really incredible topic that you need to know about when it comes to IVF or getting pregnant this year. So if you're considering IVF, which is in vitro fertilization, you definitely want to listen in to understand what those hidden costs are, because it is not just financial. I'm going to be joined here in just a second by my co-host of the Masterclass tomorrow that we're holding, which is Bonnie Lee. She is over at FemFuse, and I am bringing her on right discussion so you know all the details in order to make your decision. And if you feel like IVF is not the route for you, we are also going to be talking about what to do next. Hey, Bonnie.
Hi.
Hi, we're
Sorry
back.
about that.
No problem at all. Okay, first and foremost, I would love for you to share a little bit about what is IVF, just in case people don't really know what that is.
Of course. Of course. So IVF stands for in vitro fertilization and is essentially what the woman involved in the relationship would need to go through if there are major fertility issues going on that have not been helped by any of the smaller steps along the way. So generally what doctors would have women do is start with some like smaller interventions like Clomid or IUI, intrauterine insemination, before they move on to IVF, because IVF it's a very lengthy journey with a lot of injections of hormones that women have to take throughout the month, and honestly I think it's like a multi-month process usually to get everything examined. And it costs a lot of money. And I mean, what's great is there are a lot of insurance companies that are helping out these days, but if they are not, then it can really put women behind on money. So, I mean, those are just the basics of it. But I mean, I believe you actually went through your own IVF journey and could probably speak to it a lot more than I could.
Yeah. So you mentioned one of the hidden costs, which is obviously financial.
Mhm.
And what's really important to remember is, like you mentioned, insurances can cover a portion or perhaps all, depending on the individual and where they're working, etc. But if you're not, then you're looking at an IVF cost of roughly between 15,000 at a minimum, all the way up to around about 50,000 per round. And what's really important to consider is that may not cover the additional injections. So that's covering perhaps the lab work and the doctors that you go to, numerous times in order to analyze your body and figure out, okay, what do I need next? But it may not actually cover all of the medication that you'll be taking on a daily basis, if not multiple times a day, in order to prepare your body for producing extra eggs or preparing your body for the implantation later on. So that's just the first step of it. Not to mention, you may need some additional supplementation. You might need some additional lab testing for yourself or your partner. And as a result, those numbers start to add up in a huge way. So you have this financial strain. And obviously, as many people might be aware, the first round of IVF is not guaranteed to be successful. So, I was looking up stats a little bit earlier. The first round of IVF is, generally speaking, only successful for roughly 30% of the people that undergo it. So you're looking at least one round, if not two, three, or even up, for some women, up to 8 rounds of spending this amount of money. And this leads us into a great one, which is the additional cost of your mental and emotional health. So Bonnie, let us know a little bit more about what women might be feeling and thinking as they're going through these multiple rounds of IVF.
Of course. I mean, if you think about what leads women to starting IVF in the first place, they've already had a pretty lengthy fertility journey. And it's already so difficult every single month to be trying to get pregnant and then to get a negative pregnancy test or see your period show up. That already takes such a mental toll month after month. And if you add the expense of IVF to it and all of the hormones that are coursing through your body, and you're feeling extra out of control and very much like you don't own your body anymore, and you pay all of that money and still have a period that shows up, I mean, it's completely heartbreaking, right? And so you start to feel like you're out of options, right? But I think what's so important here about what we do and why we help women with this is that we see time and time again that a lot of people are going through IVF who may not have ever even needed it in the first place, and they just haven't examined the right thing yet. And I don't know if maybe you have another point that you want to hit before we segue to that, though.
Yeah, no, I think that's the perfect segue. Just like you mentioned, so many people are given this very broad diagnosis of unexplained infertility, which is two words that we greatly dislike women getting because you and I have had this conversation with a woman who had received this diagnosis. You feel like a failure.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you're not womanly enough to be able to carry a baby or get pregnant. And that is, like you mentioned, so heartbreaking. So we never want women to experience that because we actually want you to understand your body so much so that you know exactly what you need to do to help to prime it for pregnancy. And that's why we created this Fertility Foundations Masterclass, which is happening tomorrow. So tell us about it, Bonnie.
Yes, of course. So we'll be diving a bit more into exactly what happens throughout IVF, what might lead you to actually want to look into it, but also what you could be doing to prime your body to hopefully get pregnant naturally on your own. And if not, greatly increase the chances of success when you do go through IVF. So you never want to just jump straight there. You want to make sure that your body is primed and ready and fertile so that if you do have to do IVF due to any other sort of biological blockers, or if your partner is having fertility issues, then we want to make sure that you vastly increase your chances of success if you're going to be spending all of that money on it, right? So we'll really be hitting on all of those points tomorrow, teaching you exactly what we do to guide our clients through maximizing their fertility naturally. And we'll tell you all about how Renata was able to save one of her clients $50,000 when she was just about to get IVF and luckily didn't have
Yeah.
to.
Yes, and just a sneak peek, she found out she was pregnant the day before her appointment for IVF. So you definitely want to find out exactly how she got there. I'm going to be sharing the 4 steps and specifically what she did in those 4 steps that you could also take away and implement based upon where you're at in your pregnancy journey. So this is a must-watch masterclass. If you're thinking about IVF, but in your heart of hearts, believe there is another way to do it, you definitely want to be there. It's tomorrow, which is Tuesday, March 25th at 11 a.m. Central. We'll pop the link in our stories to sign up totally for free. It's also at the link in our bios, and you definitely want to be there. What is one more thing you want women to know to come to this masterclass, buddy?
Oh my gosh. I think it's really just the fact that I actually just posted something about this, that just because it takes you a year to get pregnant does not mean you're infertile. It doesn't mean that you're broken. It just means that you kind of got to look under the hood and see what's going on. And we're going to teach you exactly how to do that in tomorrow's masterclass.
Yes. Okay. Now, if for some reason this is not you and you're watching this live or you're watching this replay and you know someone that may be going through a fertility challenge right now, please share this with them. Share this live, share our masterclass because we need to get this into the hands of so many more women so that they can be empowered in their bodies. So please go ahead and do that. And Bonnie, I'll see you tomorrow in the masterclass.
Yes. See
Okay.
you there. Bye.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.